right, quick cold open, Kate. We have important news we're going to share with the whole heads that'll be at the end of the episode. And it's very important. I mean, it's earth-shattering podcast news. That sounds like hyperbole. 'Tis not, whole heads. Right, Kate?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Kate doesn't know. She's going to find out at the end. And she's going to, oh, right. Wait, you're joking when you say you don't know what I want to talk about later, right?
Is it what we talked about on the Patreon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool. Hit the theme.
I'm Lester Holt.
Howdy, Holt heads. Kurt Money here, alongside my co-host,
Kateline.
and we're here. We got another pick from the vault. I got a shorty to talk about today, and it's got a little bit of a history with ILH. Kateline, before I get your thoughts on this, were you familiar with this app? We've discussed this very episode before.
Have we?
Yeah.
I definitely thought it was familiar, but I couldn't place anybody.
All right, well, let me read the IMDb, and then I'll tell you how I mean that. This aired in 2019. IMDb description. When a hard-charging boss in Arizona, Nick Morelos, is shot to death, police uncover a complex web of bruised egos in his professional life and a trail of broken hearts in his personal life. I think that's a pretty damn good script.
That's accurate.
This was hosted by our boy J-Mank. What'd you think of this, At?
I liked it. I thought there were a lot of dum-dums in this.
Yeah.
And I thought that made for some fun.
Absolutely. And there was a lot of Kurt's kick-ass list stuff happening. Mm-hmm. One, immediately off the top, on the day I was going to see the movie that they said. So I was like, this would have to be a snoozer of all time for me not to pick this because of the movie they just said. Do you know what I was talking about?
I do.
Okay, so you dug it. It was a good shorty. Now, here's where we know it. There was, back in the good old days when they'd let Murph Dog host a show and be part of the thing, he was with J-Mank on a talking Dateline where somebody had a smart question of like, I want to see a Dateline where the person that it is about isn't super nice. Do you remember this? J-Mank was like, we've done it. It's called Episode Stone Cold from season 25.
Nice.
And he like name-checked the episode.
He had recall like that.
Yeah.
Dude.
And he's dead right. I mean, that's the most...
What a pro. That is 100% the thing about this episode.
Yes.
This guy was a dick. And a lot of people, I don't want to say wanted him dead, but they weren't bumming when he died.
No, and even his loved ones... Like, it was almost difficult to paint him as a kind of, like, necessary dick because the job he had, right? Like, I feel like even the family members were like, yeah, people didn't like him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like a supervisor at an airplane fix-em-up place. But...
A what?
I think, an airplane fix-em-up place. I think that's the official title. That's where I take my planes if they are broken. Point me to Kurt Money's fix-em-up place.
Okay, that's on the poster.
There it is. All right, so our story takes place in Tucson, Arizona in July of 2016. We're going to talk about Tucson later on, and I've got some big old disagreements with J-Man, because guess what, Kate? I lived there for like 6 months.
You lived in Tucson?
Sure did. Between Chicago for college and L.A. when I moved out in 2007, I was there for 6 months. Straight up.
Really?
Yeah.
Good, honey.
Our story begins with a taste of the 911 call. We just get a bite where it's like he's laying there with a bullet in his head. And we go into the background of our victim today, Nick, and we're talking to his brother. They had a lot of fun, but then he joined the military and was in Desert Storm. Came back a different man.
Yes, he was a Marine, and whatever he saw over there changed him.
Yeah.
And his brother was inspired by him and also went into the military.
Yeah.
But when he got back, he was not the fun-loving guy that he once was.
No, but there's someone else later who has an about-face with their personality after death in the family. That one was for the negative. This one was more just like, he just was more no-nonsense.
Yep.
He had just like grown up, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was a little less of a jokester and a little more of a straight arrow.
Very much so. Definitely more serious.
I liked his brother. I got the vibe that his brother was probably beloved and very nice to people, as like the complete opposite to his bro. What do you think?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he seemed chill. He seemed like a cool guy. And Nick gets married, has a kid, loves his kid. Marriage doesn't last. He says, I'm never getting married again. And then what does he do, Kate?
J-Mank, his delivery on this was the funniest line of the episode.
So
where
good.
he's like,
So good.
but he did anyway, and he got married, and that didn't last either.
Yeah. J-Mank.
He told me that he would never get married again.
Actually, he did, but that marriage didn't work out either.
So he gets a job at Morena Aerospace in Tucson, Arizona, and he quickly rose through the ranks and was a supervisor pretty fast.
Yeah, he went from like a engine mechanic to a supervisor, and one of his coworkers said it was the fastest rise through the ranks in history of the company.
Yeah, and so there he is, and he's a tough boss. This is where we really started laying on him. They're saying stuff like, he wasn't a people person, and he didn't know how to talk to people.
He was a hard ass.
Yeah.
He was, I think, really mean, really rude.
Nick was tougher than an IRS audit and every bit as unforgiving.
I got the impression that working for him was like working in fear rather than wanting to help. It's kind of like, I'm doing this so he doesn't scream at me.
Nick Morelos would stab you in the front.
J-Mank tried to frame it like, because a guy said, instead of saying like, why don't you try it like this? He was like, no, do it like this. And then the guy added, even if you don't do it like that, you can walk out of here right now.
And if you don't do it this way, go home.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dang, dude.
Yeah.
Stone cold.
Stone cold.
All right, and then he not only, he butted heads at work, but he also was knocking a lot of boots at work because the ladies were a big fan.
Oh, man, he dated every single one of them. Every single woman that worked at this company, he dated.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they said the word dated, but I got the impression it was more like a hit it and quit it for some of them. But then later, J-Mank says like a serial monogamist finally settles down. And I'm like, nothing you said would, to me, scream monogamist.
I was just as baffled by that phrase, too. I was like, dude, what? I don't get it. What do you mean?
Do you mean player?
Yeah. Because serial monogamous just means that
you go from one long-term relationship into another.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was the vibe.
Yeah, no. And especially later when I break down the timeline for you.
Yeah. Okay, good call. But yeah, he was a big hit with the ladies. And we talked to Christy, who had met Nick at work in 2016. She's the most current one. I think they were engaged at the time of the murder, correct?
They were. Yes.
And we talked to Christy. What'd you think of Christy?
I liked Christy. I felt very bad for her because she said that she had waited 40-something years to find someone worth marrying. And she really loved Nick and thought she had found her prince. She kept saying he was her protector, which, I don't love that. I think those kind of like gender roles like that are kind of cringe, but I felt for her.
Yeah. I'm with you there, but the context in which she used it was like why he maybe didn't tell her if he was having problems at work.
Mm-hmm. He wanted to keep her separate from drama. He wanted her to just not be involved with anything that would be... He wanted to protect her from any kind of harm.
So they meet and, she's head over heels for this guy, and they bonded over 3 things. Books, dogs, and plants. Mm-hmm. Plants was a bit of a shocker, huh?
And she said that he was known for being this kind of gruff, mean guy.
Asshole.
But around her, he was a sweet, quiet homebody who liked to tend his plants, something very gentle. And he had this pit bull who was not vicious, very sweet dog named Smokey.
Good looking pup. We saw some pics. Good looking pup. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was a real like softy for Smokey. Loved some plants. This I liked. We're talking to Christy, and they had come to an agreement that the past was the past.
She worked at the same company. She knew about all these other women that he had dated. She worked with them. So yeah, you have to just kind of put it in the past because it's confronting you every day. You don't want to be thinking about it all the time, so you just let it go.
Yeah, but I just feel like when you come to that agreement, there's one half of the group that what that translates to is, please stop making me answer for stuff that I did before. I feel. Mm-hmm. Is that possible, Kate? What do you think?
Yes. Also, I wonder if this relationship was painted with a different kind of brush in light of his death, and that had he not been murdered, would it have ended the same way all of his other relationships ended?
Yeah. That's true.
So it's easy for her to say now, things were so wonderful, and I 100% believe her that they were.
Yeah.
But would they continue to be? His record doesn't really suggest that.
That's true. But here it is frozen in time, and this helps. 24 hours before the murder, he was like,
I love everything you do to help take care of me. And yeah, she was emotional.
I just remember walking into the kitchen and thinking, God, I am so lucky.
And then 24 hours later, it's July 8th, I believe, 2016. He hadn't called. They'd usually wake up to like some morning I love yous. And he was an early riser, so she thought it was weird. And she's hitting him up like, what's up? Where you at? Nothing. So much nothing that she drives to his house. And I assume she has a key because she goes in, walks up the stairs to the master bedroom, and what's waiting for her in the creak of the door there, Kate?
She can see all the way down the hallway. The door's open a little bit. She can see him laying there, dead, covered in blood.
Full of bullet holes, she says. That is bummer.
He was just laying there, and he was just full of bullet holes.
So she calls 911, and we hear a little bit more of that call. Police show up, including new sheriff, but also detective. I could have sworn they said sheriff. You could be a detective and a sheriff. Is that true?
I didn't pick up on that.
But she was definitely a detective because J. Mank was like, 3 months into her job, she's here in Tucson's biggest murder.
Right.
So this is Jennifer Garcia. She's the talking head that we're going to have for this app. No dingus status. I thought she was fine.
No, she's fine.
Yeah, lead detective of her first murder. And among the things that they see in the house, they see a bucket of water and carpet fibers, cleaning products left out on like the mantle and stuff. And the dog, Smokey, is in the backyard. And Nick was shot 8 times. Now, this part was brutal. He's in the master bedroom, okay? Killer comes in through the window, shoots him through the window, then comes in and continues to shoot him 7 more times.
And then leaves through the window again.
I was shot, when they said shot through the window, I was like, wait, he climbed on the roof and did it? Like, so this guy straight up climbed the roof.
Yeah.
And as J-Mink said, like, came in and kept firing. Like, he was like, I'm going to make sure you're dead.
There must have been some kind of either drain pipe or something that he could use to shimmy up there, because I don't know how he could have climbed up on that roof without anyone hearing anything, like a ladder or something.
Yeah, or all it would take is one person on the street coming home or walking by and be like, what's this dude doing on the roof? Like, if you, let's assume the garage door's shut and it's nighttime. If you saw a dude on a roof, would you assume the worst? Or would you think it's somebody who lives there? I'd like to think I'd be like, it's a killer, let's do something about it. But I'm wondering if I'd be like, it's maybe they're on their roof cleaning the gutters or something.
It's his house. He can be on his roof if he wants. Yeah. It's hard to say. Now, if it was the middle of the night.
Middle of the night, yeah. Great call. And I guess it was because we'll find out later, he was murdered at like 4 a.m. Okay. So a guy on a roof at 4 a.m.
Shady.
Yeah. If I was outside, I'd be like, wait, what's up? You know what you would do is just yell at him straight up and go like, what are you doing? They'd
take off.
Get out of there. Yeah. Okay, so there's a little pro tip for you, whole heads. And Kate says he climbed out the window. Now, we know this because there's some blood. Well, I guess this could have happened on the way in. On the edge of the window in the stucco, there's some blood. So now they're thinking the killer probably cut himself in or out of this window. So that'll be a good... As many do. Absolutely. So that's good to remember. And also, half of his rug underneath his bed was cut, like with a box cutter type, like straight up just cut off cleanly. Probably because it was drenched in blood.
In the killer's blood.
Right?
And he was like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, you're coming with me. Now, he was like, I'm going to take this because I'm smart. But then he was like, but because I'm stupid, I'm going to leave the 11 shell casings here. What's up, dude?
Yeah.
11?
That's a lot. I don't know. Maybe he didn't realize that would point back to somebody. He didn't think that he should collect those. He must not watch a lot of Dateline.
Yeah, and so does that mean... Because there were bullet holes in the wall, in the hallway wall, up like on the stairs, right? Like this guy came in guns blazing. That's not... So does that mean that there are 11 bullets either in his body or in the wall? Because this is just the shell casing.
Yeah.
That's not the actual bullet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's only 8 in his body, and the rest are missed. The rest are somewhere else.
Then came in through the window and shot him some more.
Yes, until he was finally dead.
Right, but the shell casing is what pops out immediately. So if he's like Mr. Gun Guy and he owns this gun, he should probably think like, this trash that's flying out of my gun, I should probably pick it up.
Well, anyone who is stupid enough to do a murder is maybe too stupid to know which kind of evidence you need to take with you.
That's true. And also what he didn't know is don't use recognizable or like kind of unique guns because it had a 5-star stamp on the back. Right? So it's like, ooh, okay, this will be good. And also, there were 11 or 12 gunshots. Neighbors didn't hear a thing.
And this is not like the neighbors are really far away. This is they're very close together. The houses are like any other Arizona kind of neighborhood. And immediately I'm like, all right, well, a sniper maybe, or like a silencer, or, what would they have used to make it quieter than a pistol?
Yeah. And it's a silencer.
And it's a silencer.
Yeah, so that's what they're assuming. He must have had a silencer.
Now, Kurt.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Why aren't all guns sold with silencers? Wouldn't you always want a silencer?
Interesting. Because it's like whether in war or hunting, being quiet's probably ideal.
Because if you're hunting and you miss, you're going to spook off a whole herd of deer or, duck or fowl or whatever. But if you have a silencer on...
Here's what I think. We see a silencer in this episode and we're familiar with them. They're often kind of longer than the gun. So it must be that the tech required to muffle a gunshot would more than double the size of the weapon, and it's not worth it to them.
And a rifle is already really long. So you add a silencer on the end of a rifle and you've got like a 6-foot long gun.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if they make silencers for rifles. I only know them for like, because I don't even think you put on like silver revolvers that like cowboys use. They didn't have silencers. It's only like the black guns that have a little twisty thing at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting though, Kate.
If you're doing a murder,
yeah,
it feels crazy to me that you do it without a silencer ever.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And I would say most don't use them. Like, when was the last time we had a silencer on a Dateline episode?
Well, I think it's because they're illegal. I mean, it might be state to state, but I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to own silencers.
But
is it?
Murder is illegal too.
Well, true. But like you can own a gun, right? Like you can. Your name can be on paper for owning guns, but you're not supposed to own silencers. I don't.
But a lot of these guns that are used in murders are not legally obtained because they're traceable.
That's true. I don't know. I was gonna say any gun experts reach out, but again, we don't want to know. We'll live with this mystery. I'm cool with it. Right.
And listeners who do know about guns are yet again rolling their eyes and groaning about how stupid we are.
Yeah. And one of their names is Mikloso. He was the one who was groaning last time we talked about guns.
But
see, now he'll hear this now because this isn't a Patreon episode, Kate.
The kid next door is a meatball.
We talked to the neighbors. 4 a.m. must be a silencer. And now the investigators go and do what? And this is all, I'm paraphrasing J-Mink, what friends and family already knew, that Nick was a dick. Right? Like,
yes.
we return to this fact.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Because it's important. It's going to help the police figure out who had motive.
Yeah. And because the thing is...
And it turns out...
It could be a ton of people. It could be...
A lot of people.
Co-workers. It could be ex-lovers. Like, there's, like, probably, double digits of people who you could go like, well, they could have probably killed him. Mm-hmm. And this is when he says a thing about when you're hired to be a hammer, sometimes everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
Good stuff, J-Mink.
But when you're hired to be a hammer, sometimes everything and everyone starts looking like a nail.
And we talked to a few of these people that might have had issues. The first one we talk about is Safety Inspector James LePan. He says they never got along. And now, here are the two specific things that James LePan got dinged for by Nick. 1, parking in the wrong spot. And 2, using a personal tablet during work hours.
Nick's a dick.
These are like real jerk moves to ding somebody for, right?
It's crazy. Like, that is... when I heard that, I was like, all right, this guy...
Yeah.
Again, he didn't have it coming, but like, dude, get a grip.
Yeah. What's the context of the personal tablet? Because honestly, I'd rather he do his personal stuff on his personal tablet.
Absolutely.
And not like browse Reddit on the work computer.
Totally.
Or whatever. Like
what's the big deal?
Yeah. That's funny. And we hear an interview with him and cops were like, do you know anybody who would want to kick his ass? And he says, kick his ass? No, I don't know anybody.
Anybody you know that wants to kick his ass?
Kick his ass? No.
And then we also find out, we get some deets about the ex-lovers of Nick. And this is all true. His second ex-wife threatened to kill him. Mm-hmm. And another ex-girlfriend broke in and he woke up to her watching him and his then current girlfriend sleeping in bed.
Yeah.
Could you imagine waking up to your ex looking at you sleep? That's scary.
That's terrifying. So the thing is, he is the common denominator here. Mm-hmm. He was telling people about an ex that threatened to kill him, and then another that he woke up to standing over him watching him sleep. But what if these women were not actually crazy, and he had treated them so poorly that it made them do things that they wouldn't normally do? So maybe he had hurt this second wife so bad that she, in a low moment, just said, something along the lines of threatening to kill him. Or he just thought these women are crazy. They're trying to kill me or whatever. And then the girlfriend that he found standing over him in bed, what if she didn't know that she was the ex-girlfriend yet?
True.
And she's like, why isn't he answering my texts? Is he with that girl that he says I don't have to worry about? And then she goes over to his house because she was living there and goes in and walks into the bedroom and sees them. And he just happens to wake up in that moment and thinks she had been standing there staring at them. But really she was like, what the dude?
Yeah.
Who's this girl? And then she's like taking her and leaving. We don't know.
That's a great point. We don't know. And the version we got is what he told his brother and his friends.
Right.
Of like, oh, this crazy woman was there when I woke up. But you're right. It could be, well, she thought that you guys were dating.
And she
came home.
Was suspicious because you weren't answering. And then there was a different car in your driveway. And then you told her not.
Yeah, that happens later.
That does happen later.
Too. Yeah.
Do you see a pattern here?
Yeah. And
I don't think these women are crazy.
Fair. And the next girlfriend we talk about with him, her name is Claudia, and she was another coworker. Dated him for 6 months. Everything was great. But even her, like, she was, through relation with Nick, super quick to dump her previous boyfriend. This is when we talk about Justin Skinner being a potential. Because he was, like, floored by it. He was like, I thought I was going to marry this woman. And then all of a sudden she's moving in with this guy.
Right.
And also shortly after the breakup, Just followed Claudia and Nick was in the car. And also he showed up at her home a few times.
Yeah.
Also concerning. But again, it's kind of like you said, common denominator.
It's kind of like he thought you guys were going to get married and all of a sudden you're not only dating someone else, but like moving in with them.
Yeah, that's true. That did happen quick.
Because they only dated for 6 months total. So it all happened in a very quick amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, and so the cops talked to Claudia, and she tells them that the day he was shot, she and her mom, or maybe the day after, but she had gone to the Circle S bar, and we're going to talk about this bar.
The Circle S Saloon, the proverbial bar on the outskirts of town.
And she had seen her ex, Justin, there. And, and I liked how they were like, well, did you say anything? And she was like, no, I just ignored him. I kind of like Claudia's vibe of like, I'm done giving that guy any space in my brain right now.
She was like, no, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oop, turn the other way.
Yeah, and then the next day, there's a note on her door from this guy, Justin, that says, hey, heard about your ex, sorry about it, and hey, if you ever want to talk about it, just give me a call.
So, yeah, it's a little suspicious. You could read into it like that. But she was like, she only had good things to say about Nick, even though they were no longer together, which I thought was interesting. She wasn't like, he two-timed me, he cheated and broke my heart. She was like, he's great.
Yeah.
We had so much fun. Like, he's such a good guy. She had nothing bad to say, which is also suspicious. So,
what do you think, Claudia's not telling stuff?
First time watching, I'm like, okay, that's something to take note of, where she's like overly kind about someone who we know not to be.
Right. When I think of the note that Justin left, it's one of two things. Either he killed Nick, and this is a vindictive bastard that he's leaving a note, or it's the complete other side where it's like, this is a pathetic dude. That if he didn't kill him and he's like, hey, if you want to talk about it, I'm still here. I'm calling, dude, Justin. Dude, you got to move on, brother.
Move on.
All right. She's clearly not into nice guy. I'm not saying he's a nice guy, but you know what I mean? I feel like this is not going to get Claudia back. I feel like day after Axe is murdered, hey, call me. I'm here. I'm all ears, baby. I don't know.
I'm a shoulder you can lean on.
Yeah.
But another suspicious thing that she did that had me questioning. In that same interview, she says immediately after saying like how great Nick was, you should probably talk to Jessica. Mm-hmm. You should probably, if you haven't talked to her, you should probably talk to her. And I'm like, okay, those are red flags. You're like telling the cops to look elsewhere after you've been saying how wonderful Nick was. I'm suspicious of you, girl.
Yes, she does say talk to Jessica Sitwell. And here's the funny, or Stillwell, excuse me. I'm thinking about AD.
Sitwell suffered from a disease that rendered him completely hairless.
He's not going to be happy about that. No, especially when he goes to the opera with 2 mustaches on his forehead.
The funny thing with Jessica, another coworker that Nick also dated for 6 months.
Right before Claudia.
And now look, as we're going to describe though, your suspicions about Claudia, I think fit Jessica in her actions a little bit.
Absolutely. That's the thing. My suspicions kept shifting depending on who we were meeting.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we are introduced to Jessica, I'm like, oh no, Claudia's good. She's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And, oh, wait, speaking of the breakup, Claudia didn't offer this up, but they talked to Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear from Jessica that Claudia was over there banging on the door, screaming for Nick. Same exact thing.
No, Jessica was doing that for Claudia.
Jessica showed up seeing her vehicle in the driveway area and was very upset. Banging on the door, saying, I know she's in there, let me in.
We're working backwards in this timeline of the women that he's dated. So we know that the current fiance who finds him dead, they dated for they've only known each other really 6 months. Right. And before that, he was with Claudia for 6 months because almost a year to the day of his death is when Jessica was banging on his door knowing that Claudia was in his house.
That's true. And they say, is that coincidence? And to me, I say, yeah, because it sounds like he's on a 6-month run.
Yeah.
So it would probably be ballparked around a year or like 18 months or 24 months.
So,
or, you know what I mean?
In a little over a year, he's got 3 women. One of them he's engaged to, 2 others he's like living with. So when we're talking to the fiance about how she had finally found the one and everything, I'm like, I don't know, girl. You didn't know him that well. And he had been with 2 other women very soon before y'all were engaged.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I could almost see her finding out after the fact, too, that like, oh, wait, he was seeing somebody else?
Uh-huh.
I was waiting for that bomb to drop. But no, she's really got the rose-colored glasses here. I mean, it ended at the right time for Nick's track record, I suppose. Because now she's going to love him forever.
This is wrong.
But a day after the murder, Nick's kids snap a pic of a woman seen snooping around Nick's house. And because Jessica kind of has this reputation
of showing up to houses and banging on doors.
Yeah, and there's a guy at work who says, like, you could tell anytime Nick was in the room, Jessica was never in a good mood, right? There's a specific part where she's like, she was in a foul mood whenever he's around. And so they're assuming this picture is Jessica. We see the picture. It could be Jessica. And they ask Jessica in the interrogation, is that you?
She says, no, it's not me. I haven't been over to his house in like a year, which we do know she did go to his house a year earlier. And they're like, well, people are saying it's you. And she's like, well, I don't know why they're saying that. That's not me. And it's believable what she's saying. And it turns out she's not lying. They run the plate of that car. And it's just some random lady who parked there trying to find her kid.
Trying to find her son. And we never found out if she found her son or not.
And I didn't...
Maybe it's one of those false alarms that we talked about.
I didn't get the impression that this was like a missing child. I felt like
me neither.
Her kid, she knew her kid was in that cul-de-sac and was like, where the hell are you? Boy, get back in here right now. You know what I mean? She was just like looking for her kid.
Honestly, I thought it was older. I thought this was a pissed off mom of a teen that's like, my son is around here smoking somewhere and I'm going to bust his ass. That's what it was to me. I figured she was out there looking for like a troublemaker, like hiding or something. But yeah, it turns out that's true. That is true. That was what was going on. So Jessica's telling the truth.
It's not her.
And so at this point, we go back to talk about Justin Skinner. That's the ex of Claudia. And he was, as J-Mank says, the square who didn't fit the triangle. Right?
Yes.
In the Nick, Jessica, Claudia triangle, he was the square who didn't fit.
So Justin's alibi is he was at the Circle S, which confirms, because that's what Claudia said. I saw Justin at the Circle S, and he was there from 6 to midnight, left and went home. And they can't confirm whether or not he went home. They see that he did leave at midnight because of the security cams. But his roommate's like, well, hey, I don't know if he stayed in his room or not. Which, if I was Justin, I'd be like, come on, dude, you saw me come home.
You know I was home. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. But also, I'd want to go, dude, 6 hours at the bar? Tell me you didn't drive home, my man. What do you think? He probably drove
I would
home.
Be so bored.
So we're worried about Justin. They bring him down, and we have a recording of this. And I liked this because they were like, oh, we noticed you have some scratches on your arm. What's that from? And we hear Justin, he's like laughing, like it's landscaping.
I'm seeing a few scratches on your arm. How did those happen?
Landscaping.
And I was kind of with him here. Like, don't...
Yeah.
He essentially at first goes, you cannot take pictures of these scratches. And you cannot have my DNA. Where's your head at on Justin right here?
I'm like, dude, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, the DNA, fine, take it. But the pictures of the scratches, I'm like, no. Because no matter what I say, no matter what I say, there's going to be a defense attorney for whoever it is out there that's going to take that picture and show it in the court. Mm-hmm. And you can say whatever you want about it because you can't prove it.
Yeah. I'm with him, totally.
Yeah.
But eventually he's like, all right, fine, take my DNA.
Yeah, and they really painted it. I mean, I think it was in the same sit down. Now, they painted it for a commercial break.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But I feel like they just did that for the suspense. But it was like, first he said no, and then he said yes.
They did do it over a commercial break. They were trying to make us think like, oh, no, what are they going to do? And I was like, oh, he said yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And
this is the part where...
It wasn't a match.
No. Yeah, you're right. DNA, so he is in the clear. This is where J-Mink starts talking about Too Small Tucson. This was where I was up in arms because I was only there 6 months, but I don't ever remember it being called Too Small Tucson.
No.
Or that it having that vibe of it being like a small town.
No, not at all. I've been there. It's not. It's like it's not a big city, but no. Maybe if you work in fixing planes and you go to the Circle S. Everybody knows everybody. It's the same crowd, but it's a city like any other where there's lots of people.
Too Small Tucson is how some refer to this city.
Now, I have a suspicion that J-Mink was planting that because of stuff that comes up later. And the start of that begins with the brother deciding to do his own detective work. Mm-hmm. And I think it pays off. So his brother, this was interesting because it's his brother who tells the HR guy who's interviewed by Dateline. We talked to the HR guy. It was his brother who told him that the person who broke in had a scratch in his arm, correct?
Yes.
So this is the first time this happens, and it's not the last. But the brother is doing his own little detective work, and it's like, hey, so-and-so, we're looking for somebody with a scratch in his arm. HR guy goes, whoa, dude, you're not going to believe this. James Lupin was in here the other day with a bandage on his arm.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
And this is the first guy we talked about.
This is the guy who said, oh, no one would want him dead. He just docked me for parking and using a tablet.
Yeah. Well, and he's specific. He goes, kick his ass? No. Because in his head, he's probably thinking,
murder.
But murder him? Maybe.
Yep. Kick his ass. No.
But the HR guy says 11 days before the murder, Lupin had come to HR to complain about Nick. And he told HR, if you don't handle this, I have my own ways of handling it.
Murder.
Wow. Not looking good for him, and it's just going to look worse and worse. I mean, talk about a solid case we're about to build up here.
No, and
this is the beginning of it.
With the HR guy, what was the thing that he said where he was like, he kept it from me for obvious reasons. And then J-Mink was like, I'm thinking because you're the head of HR is the reason.
Yeah.
He would deny it to me for good reason, I'm sure.
Because you were the HR director, I'm thinking that might be the reason.
Correct.
Which, the first time I watched it, I thought it was very funny of J-Mink. I laughed. Upon second viewing, I was like, all right, J-Mink. He's just, he was just using a figure of speech.
Right.
He wasn't saying like, I genuinely don't know why he would keep that from me. He was being playful, and then J-Mink like undercut him, made him sound stupid.
I see that. So the cops were like, we got to talk to Lupin again. I think I'm saying that wrong because I'm thinking of James Wong's character from Big Trouble in Little China, Lopan. I'm worried I'm saying this guy's last name really wrong. What do you think?
This guy's a piece of shit. You say it however you want.
Okay, great point. They bring James Lupin, they bring James back in, and they talk to him, and he's like, yeah, everything's cool. And they let him go. 2 minutes later, knock, knock, knock. Who's that at the door? It's James. He's going, hey, there's something I want to fess up to you guys, right?
I was sleeping with Jessica.
Okay, but how does he phrase it?
Okay.
He goes, now, this was...
Okay.
I hated this. I fucking hated this.
He says, we were slipping. Now... I legit didn't know what he was talking about at first. I've never heard this.
Me neither.
Jessica and I have slipped.
And my husband knew it immediately. When he said, I slipped, or we slipped. He was like, oh, cheating. And I was like,
yeah.
I understand you slip up and, you make mistakes. But to say the act of cheating is slipping?
Yeah. I am with your husband here. I knew it right away. But it's from the perspective of this is a cheater, and these are his words he uses. Mm-hmm. Like, f*** this guy. That's why I knew it. I was rolling my eyes. Oh, here we go. He slipped up, huh? Uh-oh. His dick slipped into someone else. Like, what? Like, it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess.
And he tells us.
I guess the way in which he used that word as a verb, I hadn't heard it said quite like that before. And I was like, what is he talking about?
Especially because he he slept with Jessica, let's go ahead and say it, who was also with somebody at the time. Mm-hmm. But when he went in there, he was saying the collective we slipped. So you're right. It's kind of like, what?
Right.
What? No, you're in here to own your mistakes, right, dude. I don't know.
But he said we slipped.
Yeah. That is weird. And it, of course, is Jessica, right? And it's like, and they decide, and he had told his wife about it, and they decided not to proceed because she didn't want to be the other woman. And he didn't want to ruin his special marriage that I can't wait to go into details about. Kate. Kate knows it. Kate knows it. And
I feel like you picked this episode because of things like this, because you knew I would get all worked up.
Yeah, well, I mean, these were definitely in the pro column of, should this be an ILH episode? I was like, well, this is going to be fertile territory. Mm-hmm. The concept of a covenant marriage. What the hell?
And J-Mank is like, bro, what is a covenant marriage?
What's a covenant marriage?
Yeah, because he talks to Serena, who is the wife of James, the one who was slipped upon. That's poor Serena here.
Yeah.
We talked to her, and it was James's suggestion. They got a covenant marriage, and J-Mank's like, what the hell is that? And she says, she goes,
covenant marriage is recognized before God and state.
That sounds like every marriage.
That's every marriage. If you do a marriage in a church, it's before God, and then you have to do the paperwork for the state. Yeah. That's every marriage.
Yeah, and so I Googled it. You can only do it in 3 states.
Oh. So okay. It's just some bullshit.
It's some bullshit in like super religious places, I feel. Arizona, because Arizona is hella conservative, right?
It is.
Arizona, Louisiana, and Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
So like that told me all I needed to know, because I love that the premise of it was, this is more important because you're supposed to be married for life, which you and I argue is the worst mentality because it results in so many murders and poor women in awful relationships for years and years on end.
And she said, in addition to it being before God and the state, it also makes it harder to get divorced.
Yeah. What that means specifically is you can't do a no fault. It has to be heavy stuff. Like, for instance, your husband murdered somebody. Uh-huh. So keep that in mind. But this covenant, and she goes, well, and I looked it up and it says you have to go to counseling beforehand. I had to go to friggin' counseling with the guy who did our wedding before our marriage. And I didn't get covenant married. I had to go to friggin' marital counseling or whatever.
That sucks.
Right? Yeah. And he did not like me and I did not like him. And he said I wasn't ready and this was a bad idea. Now, what sucks is in hindsight, he was dead on.
He was right.
Correct.
But he didn't like you because you weren't religious.
Probably, yeah. I believe that. Yeah, because I definitely wasn't. But yeah, so like, I don't know. All the stuff she described, I was like, you're describing getting married, lady.
Yeah. And she was also, she was in the Army. And she had a very big alpha personality. And that's what drew her to James initially, because they were both alphas. And it's like, she'd finally met her match, a guy that could, take her on. And they were so good together, she said, until they weren't.
Exactly. And she straight up calls herself an alpha bride.
She says alpha.
Yeah, she calls herself that.
But then
she said, the first thing she says is, and I knew that James had fallen off the marital bandwagon, so to speak. And already, ding, 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 Kurt's knocking you down, because guess what? That's not the right one.
That's not a phrase.
Use the right one there.
No.
Bandwagon is for like a currently fashionable thing that people hop on because everybody else is doing it. She just meant wagon, I think.
Yeah.
This is one of 2 weird mix-ups she has with phrases that I thought were kind of funny. But
she tells us James had a death in the family, and after that, he was never the same. And he wasn't this alpha guy who got along with her so great. He became a controlling nightmare person.
Yeah. Yeah, and at first he wasn't. He was all nice and lovey-dovey, and then his dad dies, and all of a sudden, she's got horror stories about how he's like, the kids are replaceable, I'm not.
That's psychotic. And she's like, nope, you are, so...
Yeah. So they talk to Serena, and we hear... Well, J-Mank talks to her, but also at the time, she's brought in, and we hear her in the interrogation room saying, no, he's not lying. He was with me. He was next to me asleep. Mm-hmm. And so, boom, all of a sudden, James Lupin has a friggin' alibi. And so at this point, it kind of goes... It's not cold, because all this kind of happens like boom, boom, boom. But there's a pause in it where they're like, there's nothing new coming. And the brother is still doing his own investigating. And this is where the Too Small Tucson comes in. He's out talking to friends, and he talks to one guy about James Lupin. And this guy is like, dude, you're not going to believe this. I had a guy come into my gun store a few months before the murder and asked to fix his silencer. And what was that guy's name? James Lupin.
I was like, I thought you meant the gun store guy. I was like, I don't know his name. Yeah.
So this is now twice his brother has told somebody, and they're like, wait, that's so weird you say that.
You're not going to believe this.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. So again, it's like, wow, dude, just stacking up the reasons. So this is enough to get a search warrant for James Lupin's home. Now, this is a few months after or something, so you're like, well, he's probably gotten rid of everything if he's like a killer or smart, right?
Yeah. No. It's all there. It's all there.
It's all there.
All the stacks and stacks of ammo that match the gun. They have the exact inscription on the bullets.
There's 5 stars.
And then
Yep.
They had boxes that matched the gun and the silencer. They had his pants that had like blood on them.
Blood.
I mean,
so they take that.
This guy's an idiot.
So yeah, in this initial search, they've got boxes that have the 5 stars on them. They have spent casings as well that are just loose. That those also match the spent casings from the crime scene. They also find in the back of his car, they find carpet fibers that matched the rug that was cut up in the murder room.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And like you were saying, they find a box for the, like not just a box to keep a gun in, it was literally a labeled box that a gun came in.
Uh-huh.
Like it was a D-size 5 combat or whatever.
But they did find this empty box for a para-ordnance Black Ops Combat 45, which they believed was the murder weapon.
And the same goes for the silencer. Why are you keeping the boxes, dude? You threw out the carpet. Throw out the boxes.
You threw out the murder weapons.
Yeah.
Get rid of
What's
all
the
of it.
box for, idiot?
Memorabilia.
Oh.
You gonna make a scrapbook?
My God. Yeah. I mean, it just must be the pattern of people being like, oh, we got to keep the box in case we want to return it or something. Like, I know people like that. Like, oh, keep the box. But this is like, dude.
Yeah, my husband.
Really?
He keeps every box. I don't even have the box for my iMac.
You ditched it?
No, I hate boxes. Get them out of here. If I have to move, I'll get more boxes.
Yeah. And then, so they take the jeans to test the blood. Boom, Covenant did it. Now, this is wild. After he admitted that he had fallen off the marital bandwagon and she had picked his name out of a hat in a ring, we find out that James, this was odd. After the affair is admitted, James has Jessica over for dinner. What about this, huh?
And he makes Serena cook the dinner and serve it to Jessica and then lets them sit alone and chat for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
She's
like doing dishes and she hears him. What are they joking about in there?
They're joking about Nick and how he sucks.
Yeah, and how he sucks.
And I'm like, is this a Valerie situation? But then I
just listened to that
I
episode.
get it though that like he's terrifying to live with. So she's just going to bide her time and she's going to entertain his lover like she would any other guest.
Yeah. Oh, that is brutal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think at this point they've got enough evidence where they arrest him because of all that stuff they found with the search warrant.
Yep.
While James is in jail, like pending trial and stuff, Serena's at a hotel room and she sees a Lifetime movie and boy, was I bummed we didn't get a title, huh?
Hallmark movie. Even worse.
No, it was Lifetime. It was 100% a Lifetime movie, dog. Sorry. It was 1,000% Lifetime movie. I'll pull up that right now if you're that posy. I mean, I have it transcribed. You want me to pull it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now when I'm right, it's got to stay in, though. So you better be prepared for that.
What if it's both?
They say Lifetime Hallmark movie. Stone Cold episode. All right. Tell me if you can hear this. Did you hear that?
No, I can't hear any of it.
Well, that's okay, because I'm going to export it and send it to you. Just to
so it's Lifetime.
Maybe give you a clue of maybe. Let's wait till I play it, though.
That is, until a Lifetime movie changed everything.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
So it's a Lifetime movie.
Lifetime movie.
And what does she see in that movie that makes her rethink something? What moment does she have in this hotel room? Like, what does she come to realize?
She comes to realize that she needs to tell the truth about what she knows her husband did. Her husband was not home with her that night, and she lied to the police.
Yeah.
And she needs to come clean.
I like that what the movie was about an abusive relationship. And she realized that's what she was in. And she realized it wasn't going to get better. And the reason why I bring it up is because it's stuff like this that makes me love movies and TV shows and storytelling all the more. And get, like, this is my defense when people are like, it's just a stupid movie. Like, it reflects people's lives and it helps change them. Like, I love that she was able to connect. Like, she's probably hearing what all her friends had been telling her and her family was telling her for years.
But she needed to see it on the screen in a
I love that.
disconnected enough, but feeling empathy for the characters to understand what her own situation is.
Yeah.
And she knew that by telling the truth, he'd go to prison and she'd be free of him. That's her way out.
Yeah, that's true. So I love that J. Mank is like, and a few months later, she did just that. Because it wasn't the next day.
No, it wasn't.
Right? It was a few months later.
It took months, but eventually Serena found the courage to pick up the phone.
But she does call up the cops and sit down with them, and she can't wait to tell them, okay, we went to bed at 9, but then he got up and left, and then I woke up in the middle of the night, he was there, and then I wake up again in the morning, he's not there.
And then he comes in
right?
as she's getting into the shower, and he is covered in blood.
Yeah, covered in blood.
And then he says to her, I was home all night. This never happened.
He said, I was home all night and we worked out this morning.
He didn't tell you why he needed that alibi.
Nope.
And so that's what she was lying for. That's heavy, right? I mean, that's scary that this guy's a psycho and that he's confident enough in the fear that he can instill in his wife that he can go, we slept together all night and worked out this morning. And excuse me while I shower now to get this blood off of me. So this is great for the prosecution. They don't even bother having the defense attorney on here, do they?
Nope.
They don't, because the trial happens, and guess what? DNA on the windowsill? His. Guess what? Blood on the pants? Nick's. Everything that could pin this guy gets him. Why did he still go through with the trial? Why didn't he go, let's do a deal?
Hubris.
You're right. Absolutely. You think he's going to give it? I mean, this is one of the most solid cases we've ever discussed, I think.
And the jury, they don't need much time at all.
No. They're like, they don't even say. It's just, they came back guilty.
We, the jury, do find the defendant, James LePan, guilty of the offense first-degree murder.
But the prosecution is on, and they've got an excellent point, and this is when we got to talk about Jessica again. She's put on the stand, and what do we find out? What do we hear of Jessica's involvement?
That Jessica and James were texting each other the night of the murder. And
yeah, and we see him.
We see some of the texts, and he says to her, Pitbull.
That's it, Pitbull.
And she responds, yeah, that's Smokey.
Basically, what he's saying is, what's the name of this dog? So when I go over there and murder him, I can call the dog into the backyard first. The next text was, James said, delete all of our previous conversations.
So she's in on it.
This kind of makes it sound like Jessica's in on this.
But she
right?
doesn't get convicted of anything. She's still free.
And we forgot to mention, when James was arrested, he was pulled over in a car being driven by Jessica. Jessica was just giving him a ride.
Sure.
Bold. Sounds like he was slipping again.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up.
But my question is, what is the motive? Because Jessica hadn't been with Nick in a long time. Well, not that long. Like a year.
6 months.
But there had already been 2 other women since her.
Yeah.
And she's that hung up on him that she needs James to go murder for her?
I think it was they bonded over hating him. And James probably thought, oh, I'll bet she'll let me slip again if I murder him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he did it for brownie points.
Maybe.
I think Jessica's guilty of something.
Those
texts
absolutely agree.
Sink her.
Yes, they do. And then she argued, no, that's not what it was. We were just talking about Smokey because I wanted a pit bull.
Yeah. She goes, I was asking advice because she wanted to get like her daughter or son a dog. And it's like, well, how is that advice then by knowing the name of your ex's dog? Like, he didn't say, hey, what kind of dog was Smokey? Smokey's cute. He goes, pit bull. And she says, Smokey. That's not advice on a dog.
Nope.
That's advice on the name of your victim's dog.
So what do you think happened that night then with Smokey? Because if he was shooting in the window and then climbed in and climbed out, when was he able to get Smokey into the backyard and how? Did he hop the fence into the backyard and call Smokey out through the doggy door? Is there a doggy door?
Good question. Because it looked like the window is in the front yard, so I could see how having Smokey in the backyard would help his case, I suppose. because then it can't get inside when the bullets start. But yeah, I'm with you. Maybe he didn't have to. That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah, so we don't know what went down with Smokey, but something.
We don't. But we know that James is going to die in prison and that the Covenant wedding was granted a divorce. Thank goodness.
Yep.
And I believe it's time for those lists. What do you got?
Kate's unnamed list. Well, there's a lot of military happening in this. Nick, his brother, Serena.
Yeah, good point.
All military.
Is this the most military players we've had?
Maybe.
3 is a lot.
Marines and Army. It's pretty good.
Good point. Yeah. All right, sweet. What else you got?
That's it, though.
All right, on to Kurt's Kick-Ass List.
Kick-Ass List.
We kick it off with a Superman ref, and that's when I was like, I'm watching this app the day me and the missus are about to go see Superman at the drive-in. So I was like, we gotta do it.
He was my Superman.
And I love a good timestamp for an episode. We saw it. We both loved it. And you know what? Crypto's in it, right? And every time Crypto did something dope, I'd go, you're my Crypto. You're my stinky dude. You're my little Crypto. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So there we go. There's number 1. Number 2, J-Mank in mid-app. This was a Dateline mention. He goes, oftentimes on Dateline, we talk about people who light up a room. Right? And now that's a classic. So this was in 2019, so they were wise to it then. Because, they're mentioning it on the show. That's a direct reference to the fact that people were making fun of it, right? So that's pretty good.
Often at Dateline, we tell you the stories of murder victims who lit up a room or who didn't have an enemy in the world. Well, not so much with Nick Morelos.
And then on to, that's number 2. Number 3, Lifetime movie. Boom, straight out.
Watching a Lifetime movie about an abusive, controlling husband.
Oh, I forgot to mention they wanted to talk to Jessica. And I knew that we were setting up for a great J-Mank delivery, and it was. We wanted to ask Jessica about all of that, but she declined. I was like, yeah, get her.
We wanted to ask Jessica about all of that. She declined to be interviewed.
And that's it. So that wraps up the app, and now it's time to talk about the important stuff. How about you lead us off?
We got a change coming to the pod. We are no longer going to be a Dateline specific pod. We are going to be more of a general true crime show. So we'll still feature some banger Dateline episodes, but we're going to expand and handle other true crime shows, docs, on all networks and streaming services, taking requests as well.
Now, basically what we're doing is the Patreon that we were pushing, we're taking the premise of the Patreon and we're putting that on the main feed. So it's only going to be about a Dateline if it's a solid Dateline. And look, let's say it right here again. A big reason, there are a few reasons for us to do this. One, the show has only shrunk since October of 2023 or stayed absolutely the same. So it's like we got to try something to get something cooking. So that's part 1. Here's the deal. Dateline is not the show it was when we launched this podcast in July of 2023. We think something has happened, may it be a new producer or something. It doesn't bring the same magic. And a good example of that is the fact that we still don't know what the hell is going on with Murph Dog.
But we don't want to stop doing this. So we're just going to pivot and talk about all kinds of true crime.
Yeah. And we might even just... Anyway, so here's the deal. It's going to happen immediately. And what it is we have 6 more episodes in season 2 before the Lesties, the year-end spectacular. Those episodes are going to be from the Patreon that we've been posting since November. We're going to use those. Now, we'll do a little intro on them, I feel. So they're not complete repeats for the people that were on the Patreon as well. But we just want to see how people do with when we cover a non-Dateline thing. And I'm excited for them to hear those because there's great stuff in there, right? Like Sharon Kinney. We get to bring Sharon Kinney over to the main feed. That's great news.
The name of the show will be...
ILH. And you think, isn't that the name of it now?
No.
This is the aisle of a video store, and that aisle is H.
Aisle H.
That's right. So we're dropping any Dateline branding because, again, we're not convinced that Dateline knows we exist or wants us to exist because the only time they've ever said anything was when they said, we know you're not Lester Holt, as if it was like an attack, like we caught you out, you guys are conning people. It's like, no, this was in tribute. So anyway, I'm kind of salty about Dateline, perhaps more so than Kateline. I don't know. What do you think, Kate?
You're a little more salty. I'm excited. ILH is going to be fun. We're going to do more stuff. Yeah,
and we're still going to do video versions of the show on the ILH YouTube, which is, again, AISLEH, as an aisle of a video store H. All the I'm Lester Holt of it will be gone. We're going to have a new theme. new logo. But you'll get a taste of what that's going to be like. And I think it's going to work because, again, like we've said before, the majority of the Holt heads don't watch the Dateline. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure this will put anybody out, I don't think.
You're tuning in for us.
Yeah. Okay. But so that's going to do it. My love for AC, though, is still never ending.
Boom.
And on that note, I'm Kurt Money.
I'm Kateline.
I'm Lester Holt. For all of us, I'm Lester Holt. Good night.